Good afternoon and welcome to Let's Reconnect. My name is Conor O'Leary and I'm a key tutor with Community Education and KWETB. This event is our contribution to the National Adult Learners Festival, which is coordinated by AONTAS. And I'm going to be your host today. And I'm going to introduce you to some amazing people and their stories. So in normal times, we'd be in a beautiful hall somewhere in County Kildare, and we'd be having a cup of tea and a chat, and we'd see some old friends and new faces. And there'd be lots of different sounds around, the sounds of footsteps, of chatter and laughter. But this is not a normal time. And staying apart has utterly changed all of our lives. Today, like many of you, I am here in a room on my own. And we miss many things that are so natural to us. Our friends and family, the normal events we go to, the bus trips, the outings, and all of the little precious things that happen in between. But we needed to stay apart to protect each other. And despite that, we still grieve for the thousands who became ill and those who we have lost. But the need for connection does not go away. And what can we do in a time of crisis? Today, we have 4 groups from across County Kildare who are going to share with us what they have done to reconnect with themselves, with their groups and their communities. I'm delighted to say that over 100 of you have registered for today's event, and I think that that's a sign that you too want to reconnect. You'll see in the functions at the bottom of your screen that there's a question and answer button, chat button, and so on. And I'd encourage you to use those to send us your messages. Perhaps you could tell us where you are. We'd love to know where all of you are around the county and beyond. And all of the panelists at today's event will see those messages and encourage us. Because again, if we were in that hall, we could speak to each other. And even though you can see me and I can't see you, we'll try and make the most of the technology to communicate with each other. You know, you might be in a tie and you're here to support the breakout art group from the Irish Wheelchair Association. Or perhaps you're from Monasterevin or Sallins or Clane and you're giving a shout out for the Kilcullen Community for Climate Action. Then again, you might be a little bit further north up in Selbridge and here to support the Sharing Skills group who are going to be launching their Facebook and website page this week. Or indeed, you could be from a bigger area, anywhere in County Kildare or West Wicklow, and you could be linking with the Kildare branch of Down Syndrome Ireland and all of the amazing work that they do. Wherever you are, you're all so welcome. Now, we're not here on our own today. We have other people helping us in the background because we can't do this on our own in the way that we can't do community education on our own. And we have our tutors, Joe and Dasha, who are helping with today's event. And that's part of the reality. So at different times today, we're going to be engaging in something that looks like a little dance, where we'll be saying to people, please, I'm going to ask somebody now to turn on their camera and their microphone or turn off their camera and their microphone. So things will appear and reappear. And the format will be that we'll have a presentation from each of our groups, and then later a discussion where they will tell us about all the things they have learned in their groups, in their courses, and from each other. But what is community education and what is KWETB? Well, thankfully, Susan Cullinan, Community Education Facilitator with KWETB, is here, and hopefully she's going to be able to turn on her camera and her microphone and tell you all about it. Thank you.
Thank you, Conor. My name is Susan Cullinan. I work for Kildare and Wicklow Education and Training Board. KWETB provides a range of services across Kildare and Wicklow, including primary education, post-primary education, further education and training, and most importantly for me, community education, the programme that I work with. What is community education about, you might ask? Well, it involves providing inspiring learning, starting with the lived experience of the learners, providing learning to local groups in their own area. We focus on the issues of our time. We promote inclusion and equality, and we work towards personal, community, and social change. And today you will have a chance to see all of that in action. Each year, AONTAS, the National Organisation for Adult Education in Ireland, hosts an Adult Learner Festival during the first week in March. And the festival highlights all the varied adult education that happens all around the country. It happens every week, not during this week only, but this is the time of the year that we celebrate all of this learning. Each year we decide to have a theme, and as Connor said, the theme this year is Let's Reconnect. This time last year, we had just finished a series of events that were in person to celebrate the Adult Learning Festival. And now we're in a much different situation, as Connor has well described. Instead of everything being in person, which is what we would have said was the most important and best way to deliver community education, now we're in a situation where everything is online. When the pandemic first arrived, we were floundering, like many organizations in the country and across the world. And we decided to go back to basics, to look at the issue. What is the issue? And for us, it was that our groups can't meet. They can't meet in person. So that brought us to the theme, Let's Reconnect. And each group that participated looked at that theme from their own perspective and interpreted it in different ways. We worked together. It wasn't just the groups, but also the amazing tutors that we have and the wonderful team that works in community education. And it's also about the process, how we work, not just what we learn, but how we work together and how we support each other. One of the first things we did was to see what resources and skills are available within the groups. And we were very conscious that within any group, some people have very good IT skills, some don't have any, some people have devices and Wi-Fi, and some people don't have any. And to be honest with you, this time last year, we didn't even know what Zoom was, let alone how to use it. So in order to support the groups, we lent them devices, we helped them get Wi-Fi, and we provided them with basic skills on how to get onto Zoom. The next thing was looking at how we would approach this from a learner perspective. Everything that we do is learner-centered. And so the group and the tutor came together, they identified what they wanted to learn, and together they made a plan. And it wasn't just each project that each group worked on separately, but representatives from each of the groups came together to devise this collaborative event to celebrate the learning and to share the learning, and that is what we are doing with you today. During this last year, some of us have been thinking, how will I get through the next week? Sometimes even, how will I get through the next day? But these groups looked at things from a different perspective. They thought, what can we learn from this situation? What can we gain from it? Last September, these 4 groups came to join us to participate in 4 different projects. Each project took about 30 hours between September and now. We had the Kildare Climate Action Group. Climate action is such an important, pressing issue, and for many of us it can feel overwhelming and too hard to do anything about. But this group decided to take action. The Irish Wheelchair Association decided to develop an online art group. The Sharing Skills group in Selbridge decided that because things were changing, they needed to up their game in terms of social media. Kildare Down Syndrome made a film to show the impact of COVID on their learners. And this time last year, we were all a bit shy about coming on camera and being on Zoom for everything. But now we have learned so many new technologies. Groups have learned how to make films, how to set up websites, how to make Facebook pages. The groups all participated on radio interviews over the last few days with KFM, highlighting what they have learned. And at the heart of it all is the collaboration and energy that the groups brought. Joining one of the meetings to plan this event was such an uplifting experience. There was always so much crack and fun happening. And we all know that fun has been in short supply over the last year. Some groups have said we'll wait until we go back to face-to-face learning. Being online, it won't work. But these groups said, well, let's try. What's the worst thing that can happen? And you will see the results for yourself this afternoon. Now that these groups have participated and achieved what they have achieved at this stage, who knows what is the next step? We hope you will be inspired. If you want to find out more, please go to our website, www.communityeducationkwetb.ie, and there you can sign up for mailings, so we will be able to keep in touch with you and let you know of any latest news. If you haven't been involved in community education before, what these groups and learners have done, you can do too. There are lots of opportunities and experiments going on. We're all learning and discovering new ways to deal with things. Come and join us. Be part of it. We'd love to have you with us. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Susan. I noticed some of you have been using the chat button, so thanks very much for that. Great to hear from the Kavanaghs in Eadstown and Anne in Monastriven and the Liz in Ballyshannon, and also from Maynooth as well, and people wishing Down syndrome, the Kildare branch Down syndrome Ireland, all the very best as well. So thanks for those messages. Keep them coming in. We love to see that. We might try and do something now, because I suppose, you know, we've talked about reconnection and that's the theme today. And, you know, the technology has proven a help, but it can be a hindrance as well. But we're still exploring ways of using it and trying to make the best of it. So I'm just going to check with Joe if we're actually able to run a poll at the moment. We were going to try and do a quiz, but it may or may not be possible. So I'm just going to check.
Yes, Connor, we can try that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hold on a second. I'll just do it now.
I feel like I'm a mix of someone doing the Ronan Collins show and, you know, roll it there, Colette, but we'll have to just say roll it there.
Right, that should be live for everyone. Yeah.
Here we are. Excellent. So the first question you can see here on the screen is, do you know what the community education website address is? So if you can, I'd like you to have a look at that and pick one of the options that's there, www.communityeducationkwetb.ie, rte.ie, kildarevec.ie, or zoom.us. So if you pick one of those, and then if you want to try, I'm not sure, I think you can see the second question as well. I'm not certain about that, but I think you can. And that's just asking you if you've ever taken part in a community education course before, yes or no. And finally, how many groups did Community Education Kildare work with in 2020? Was it 10 to 20, 30 to 40, 40 to 50, or 50 to 60 in what was probably the most challenging year ever for community education? So if you want to have a go at picking each of those, if you're able to just click on the buttons on your screen, and we'll see what results come up. So Joe, have any results come in yet?
Yes, they're coming in. You may have to scroll down to see all the questions at your end, but no, not you, Connor, the participants, but we have 49 out of 83 already. So
okay,
coming up, so we'll give it another minute.
We'll give it another few seconds to let them roll in. And I must say as well, a big thank you to everybody for joining today. You know, it's a great encouragement to us. You know, there was a big kind of a team effort to organize today's event, and huge input from all of the learners and the tutors as well to think about how can we connect with people and connect with each other. And I suppose it's all part of our learning journey. So Joe, maybe we'll display what answers we have at this point.
Yeah, well, they're still coming in, Connor. We have 60. They're coming in slowly. If you want to give it another second or two, just
all right.
give another 61 out of 83. I think might have stopped there now, so I can end the poll. Okay. Perfect.
Because I'm kind of curious to see what will come out of this myself now.
And I'm going to share the results.
Aha. Oh, well, in fairness, top class. You know, you absolutely got the right website there. Yes, only a very small reference to the old VEC. I'm afraid the VECs are no more. So it's now community education kwetb.ie to get all the information about our projects and activities like you're hearing about today. Have you taken part in a course before? Very interesting. So we have 40%, nearly 40% of people have, and 60% haven't. So maybe after today, you might be encouraged to give it a go and get more information on our website. And how many groups did we work with? Well, interestingly enough, we've got 24, fairly even spread. People were kind of wondering. Well, I can reveal that the correct answer is actually 50 to 60 groups, which really was a great achievement in the last year. So thanks very much for that and for your engaging with that. And as I said, keep those messages coming in. So at this point now, what I'm going to do is we're going to start introducing a little presentation from each of our projects in turn. So I'll ask Stephanie Alves from Kilcullen Community for Climate Action to turn on her microphone and her camera. And she'll tell you a bit about her group and introduce their video. Thank you.
Thank you, Connor. Thank you, everybody, for being here for us. My name is Stephanie Alves, and I'm here representing the group Community Resilience. And next, I will present our transformation, actually, and that's represented by a tree. The tree for us represents lots, represents the nature, represents the connection of everybody all around, every expectation that we brought into the group. And that brought us to transform our perception, our listening, and how we would contribute to one another every time we came in to participate to the classes and within our communities as well. And that brought further, that's the tree right there. And that brought to, so just coming back a little bit. So at the bottom, that is the expectations and connections that we all had. And as per se, gratitude, we had hope, we had obviously concerns. We came in to perform for them and contribute to our communities. So we brought that deep listening to transform into reflection, respect, dialogue, and then all the orange words were the things that we transformed within ourselves and that we hope to bring to our communities and transform the world. As per se, that is the challenges, listening without interruption, values that we want to contribute to each community, gratitude. And next, there will be the video of our sharing experience.
Apart from learning all the different ways about how to develop a resilient community and things around transition towns and deep listening, I also felt that I got to know people in the group who have a like-minded view of life, and that we all supported each other in our learning and in our own projects.
But it was also really invaluable to have the group of people that we had in the course who were very engaged and very helpful, and everyone in the course had been involved in some type of community initiative and had expertise and advice to bring, and we got loads of advice from all the different people on how we should proceed with our group and ideas of how we can projects we can get started on and how we can go about setting up the group correctly.
I set up Kilcullen for Climate Action a good time ago, but I feel we're kind of floundering now. We've lots of lofty aims and objectives, but that's why I came on this community resilience course, to see how we could better build community to achieve some of those. And one of the biggest things I've learned is about letting go of my attachment to the outcomes. It's very easy to be attached to the outcomes when you're talking about climate because it's urgent. We don't have much time left. However, when you're trying to build community to do something, it's about building relationships, and it doesn't serve us or me to be task oriented. And it's better to build those relationships and then the tasks will come. And building those relationships and letting go of my attachment to the outcomes also allows me to listen better, to be able to listen from the other person's point of view instead of being listening from the point of view as I want to change your mind.
With all the problems that our Earth faces, climate change, loss of biodiversity and many other issues, I sometimes feel a bit overwhelmed. But by doing the course, by meeting like-minded people, and with the help of Cecilia, I feel much more able to tackle these issues, to work with Cliona on developing a group in Kilcullen and to making Kilcullen a much more resilient town.
I came along to the course to learn about what makes a community resilient and then what actions I could take to improve the resilience in my community. My key takeaway from this course is the idea that not everybody's alike and it takes all sorts of people to make a world. So in order to promote a resilient community, we need to have a variety of shareholders involved, and a resilient community is about more than one local project. A resilient community is one where all sorts of existing groups work together and respect others' contributions, creating a larger vision of community well-being. A resilient community is one that can face the challenges approaching, and a community where everyone values each individual contribution is better able to overcome future obstacles.
I helped set up Monastravan Sustainable Energy Community with a group of people who thought it was a practical way to help our community and our planet, both of which we're passionate about. I really enjoyed the resilience course. We had a great group who really honestly shared experiences and insights and gave great advice on each other's projects. I also loved learning about the theory behind resilience, or how, the case studies on how groups around the world helped their communities become more resilient. My biggest lesson is deep listening, and I have to keep working on this, where I listen to the person who's talking without interrupting or trying to form an answer in my head while they're still speaking.
Thanks, Stephanie, and everyone in Kilcullen who took part in the Community Resilience Project, and indeed all of the participants from around the county who got involved. Now I'd like to invite Kieran Whelan and Nessa Ash to switch on their cameras and their microphones, and they'll join us to tell us about the Breakout Art Group in Athy and the online exhibition that they're launching now.
Thank you, Conor. Good afternoon. My name is Kieran Whelan. Fortunately, we haven't Nessa here at the moment, but I'm a member of Breakout Art Group. Breakout Art Group was formed through service users of Athy IWA. The reason it was formed was we just felt we needed something to bring on people's abilities and to show their skills and to build their confidence. So when we applied to KWBT, we were granted the program to go ahead and to do an art program. But the art program was to be in the centre, but with COVID and with the shutdown, we had to think of other options. So we decided we would do it through Zoom. So with Zoom, it meant we were going to have to bring it out to the house, out to home, people's homes. So we started doing it in people's homes with the help of Orla McDonough. And Orla was very supportive, and she seen ways around how we could come out with this and how we could get ourselves through this and different projects to do. I think that, so I'd like to hand you over to Nessa if Nessa's there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Tell him for a sec that you
okay, no problem. Okay. So yeah, so today we're just we'd like to showcase some of our projects and some of our things we got up to during the lockdown, and yeah, we just have a video that we've made of different things, different articles, and that we've made, and we just like you to have a look at it and see what you think. And thank you very much for watching. Thank you.
Turn on the camera. You have to go on the WhatsApp. Tell them to turn me on.
thanks, Kieran, and thanks to the Breakout Art Group. They've overcome so many obstacles to make all of that beautiful art, and it's a credit to them. And that visual exhibition, that online exhibition, is available to view, and we might talk a little bit more about that in the panel discussion afterwards as well. And next, I'd like to call on Phil Fitzgibbons to turn on her camera and microphone, and she's going to tell you a little bit about the digital skills journey that Sharing Skills in Selbridge have gone on. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Phil Fitzgibbon from the Sharing Skills group in Selbridge. We are a voluntary visual art and craft group offering weekly art and craft sessions on the drop-in and long-term membership. That was, of course, until COVID struck. We operate on a low-cost, no-cost basis, providing volunteer, skilled tuition and materials. We are diversity and disability friendly. All adults are welcome. Over the last 3 months, we've been working on our digital skills and have created our Facebook page and website. Our website will be launched in the next few days. Please like us. It is my pleasure to share our journey with you now. Enjoy and thank you.
Mehel is the ancient Irish tradition of a group coming together for a common purpose and working together and for each other to help everyone succeed in achieving their goal. Sharing Skills is a visual art and craft group. We are ability and disability friendly, and we focus on creativity, social engagement, the artist's response to the community, and biodiversity and pollination in Selbridge and beyond. We used to meet in one location with some video links to support access, but with the pandemic we found ourselves cut off from the oxygen of group connection and our sharing of skills. Our journey back began with the KWETB. Their community education IT course on Zoom helped us to bridge our skills gap so that we can now reconnect with our group members and with the wider community.
We usually meet together all in one room, but now we stay connected with the help of Zoom. Facebook, website, no risk of being infected. This is how we can all stay connected. Lockdown has shown we need to adjust. Healthy connection, well, that is a must. But there's always a way that we're all injected to learn to grow and stay connected.
Our first tutor was Nathalie, and she helped us to combine new courage with new knowledge, to build on our existing skills and to have a lot of fun in the process. We eagerly followed on with the ALF and with Tutor Joe to consolidate our digital skills and to move our group out into the world of social media. This is our Sharing Skills proud story, from the construction to the launch of the Sharing Skills Facebook page and our website. Thank you KWETB and ALF. So let's all reach out and help each other to learn and to grow and to stay connected.
Brilliant stuff again from the Sharing Skills group in Selbridge. Learn to grow and stay connected. I think we could all learn an awful lot from that message. And we've had a lot of messages in the chat as well. So people coming in from Donna D, messages from Galway and Salons, a special message from Dave in Eadstown for Nessa, wishing her all the best. From the Care Disco, which sounds suspiciously like a house party, but we won't talk too much about that. Thanks for the nice message from Brenda as well, and everybody else who's joined in. Thank you for that. And huge recognition of the videos and the online exhibition and all the creativity and people sending their messages, which we really appreciate. Finally, in terms of presentations from the groups, I'd like to invite Rita Walsh to switch on her camera and microphone and tell you all about the wonderful work of the Kildare branch of Down Syndrome Ireland. Hi, Rita.
Thanks, Conor. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Rita Walsh and I'm the chairperson of the Kildare branch of Down Syndrome Ireland. Our branch was formed in 1985 by a group of concerned parents to support families who had a child with Down syndrome. At present, we've over 220 family members, and we provide support all the way from early development to adult supports. The Kildare branch of Down Syndrome Ireland used the Adult Learners Festival to document the journey of our adult members as they negotiated life behind the cloud of COVID. In this, we showed the great strength and resilience of our adults with Down syndrome. We showed the great commitment and support that they get from their families, the huge dedication and compassion of our fabulous teaching team, and the determination and the passion of our branch committees to keep our people connected and supported in these most challenging of times. So now I'd ask you to sit back, relax, and enjoy the video we made, which tells our story behind the cloud of COVID. And even though it's a story so simply told and so well told by our adult learners, I think it's a story that resonates with every one of us, because the things that they miss so much and the things that they hope for too is what each and every one of us feels too. Thank you.
Rita, could you turn off your camera?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
This is our story from behind the cloud.
COVID-19 is like a big black cloud that slipped down over the mountain as we try to make our way up on the journey of life.
We are hidden behind the clouds.
We may become invisible.
We cannot see our friends.
We cannot see our workmates.
We cannot see our brothers and sisters and nieces and nephews. We cannot see our classmates.
They cannot see us.
We can't go on the buses or trains.
We can't go to shop or restaurant.
We cannot go
to our sports or our discourse.
We are invisible.
Our greatest fear is that when we are hidden behind this big black cloud,
we will be forgotten.
We will cease to exist.
We may slip back down the mountain.
Gains that were hard won over the last few years will have to be fought for again.
We fear that people may lose heart and never reach the potential that should be theirs.
That is why we must stay strong.
We must stay resilient.
We must stay connected.
We must dig deep and push on.
We must leave no one behind us on the mountain.
For as sure as spring will follow the dark of winter.
For as sure as the snowdrops and daffodils will push through the cold earth.
This time too will pass.
And when the big black COVID cloud has lifted,
we will stand tall.
We will have endured.
We will have survived.
Our greatest strength is hope.
Hope for a brighter future.
Hope for friendship, hugs and laughter.
we must be naive.
We will be visible.
We will be visible.
Thanks so much to Kildare Down Syndrome and to their tutor Joe for that amazing video, and to everybody, you know, in all of these projects. They're so amazing. Everything they've done over the last weeks and months is really, you know, it's really inspiring and uplifting and gives us all hope, and hope is something that we need right now. So I invite all of the panelists and from the groups and their tutors, if they would gradually turn on their cameras and their microphones, and we'll see the people behind all of these stories, and we'll have a little bit of a chat and a conversation in the way that we would have tried to do if we were in that beautiful hall somewhere in County Kildare that I mentioned. And, you know, in some ways, this is a hall of sorts. It's a virtual hall, and we're trying to reach out. And thanks again to all the people sending the messages. You know, a message there from Mary and lovely Leash. I think that's a cheeky one now, you know, the message to Kildare. And also thanks to Fiona as well and everyone else for your best wishes. So I don't know how you feel. I feel uplifted by all of that. And I'll just maybe go around to someone from each group to start, and then people can respond. But Cleona there in Kilcullen, I suppose Kilcullen was the first group we came to. And you know, one of the things that really struck me in that tree, Cleona, was that reference to, you know, and it was in the video as well, about, letting go of outcomes and deep listening and all of that. I mean, what, for you, what has been the best part about this project so far?
I think because we came together as a group with similar aspirations, but throughout the learning process, we got to know each other, and we got to connect and to learn from each other. And we did the technique of deep listening with Cecilia, which I think we all felt the benefit of, because we all just kind of have preconceived notions of things and opinions, and sometimes, especially in the world we live in, we can be very quick to do things. And I think just to kind of take a pause and learn how to listen and see where other people are coming from is just it's a really important skill, and it really fits in with the theme of connecting, and also with what our group is trying to do, which is to create community.
Thanks, Cleona. And Cecilia, you were the tutor with the group in Kilcullen, and this concept of deep listening, I suppose we live in a world where so much of what we hear on the radio is or on TV, there's people debating about topics, and very often they don't really seem to be listening to each other. How do we cultivate this deep listening, or is there something we can simply do in our lives that can help us with this?
Well, the easiest one would be if you could just listen for 30 seconds to begin with, without trying to interact. And then you can lengthen that a little bit at a time. That means giving the other person the respect to express an opinion without being judged by you or our own prejudices. We all have them, so it's natural and normal to have them. But the idea is that the other person also has a right to express something, whether we agree with it or not is beyond the point. And so with deep listening, we create a sort of a container for a real dialogue, and we don't jump down each other's throat, no matter how unsavory other people's opinion might sound to us. The groundwork is the respect to the other person. So it's a skill, so it can be improved on with exercise.
So it sounds a bit like mindfulness, in that you have to walk it and practice it to develop it.
A little bit, but I mean, at the end of the day, when you look into another person's eyes, really, I mean, there is never anything wrong with them, never really wrong with them, We might come from different walks of life and different backgrounds and different experiences that have formed our opinions, but an opinion is just that, it's an opinion, no matter how strongly we feel about that. So, there's a lot to learn from other people, and I think in the group that came through very, very strongly. So we didn't all agree on how to do things. And certainly as a tutor, I mean, I wasn't going to just say you do it this way. So, it's important to be able to just sit with whatever is being said. And obviously we were working on community resilience. So you will have all sorts of people that you have to engage with if you want a really resilient community. So you can't automatically exclude those that don't agree with you, because they might be very valuable for something else. So I thought that was the best starting point.
Thanks, Cecilia. Eilish, there in sharing skills, I'm just conscious that reference to different voices and different groups, and I suppose one of the things we try to do in the Adult Learner Festival for the last few years is have this kind of forum where different groups come together, and we've had workshops over the last number of months where it isn't just the groups working on their own with their tutor, they also get the chance to meet with other tutors and other groups. Do you think that makes a big difference, and what have you found from that yourself?
I think that personally for me, I found that to be maybe the most significant different thing about the ALF that we do here in Kildare. And as you know, Conor, we've been lucky enough to have been involved in a few projects in the past with community ed, and we've been thrilled again, especially this time when we were cut off from our group, that people that we meet with, weekly, and so the digital skills and showing us that it was possible was hugely important for us. But I love the piece where we meet up as groups and tutors and the learning we have from each other. I mean, I don't think there's anybody today attending this that hasn't seen loads of things that they could apply in their own lives, or that love to share with other people, or carry the word back out into their own communities about all the amazing work and the amazing ideas. Just the whole thing, everything from deep listening to not forgetting about people who are, stuck at home. We'd have a lot of members actually who would be in that position. They're at home and actually we're phone calling, or we're trying a bit of Zooming. And in fact, that's where we're going to move into. So sharing skills, we'll say, and now on the airways, that we are committing that we are going to operate on through Zoom and through what we've learned now with Joe, and that's our next step. And our website will be online later this week. Our Facebook is up, and we're hoping that our annual exhibition is going to go ahead before the end of March, as it always does. We have our art exhibition and intercultural event, and that's our plan. Can't give you detail because it's not quite put together yet, but look, thanks. I'm just privileged to be here.
Thanks, Ailish. That's lovely, and really, it's really positive to hear that, and that you're kind of overcoming those challenges and making things happen. And just thinking about, that thing you said about all of us being at home and stuff, and the change for people. Maybe Nessa and Orla there, you might turn on your microphones if you have a second, because I was very conscious, for the breakout group and at IWA, it was such a huge change, not being able to go to the centre every week, not having that facility, and as Kieran said at the start, and Kieran, you're free to jump in here as well. It was very different from what we expected. I remember when I sat down with Kieran and Chris and Orla, we anticipated a fairly regular art course, if anything in community education is regular, but it was going to happen in a centre, and then all of a sudden, bang, you were online, and it was such a change. And what was that like, and what difference has it made, as well, being able to do the course?
Well, I mean, I know, or just briefly for myself, Connor, I thought in the beginning, I don't see how this is going to work. How are we supposed to do art, the materials and so on? Major issue for us, but it's amazing how in communities people come together. Obviously, community art, and yourself, Connor and Susan, made it happen. And with the IWA and Athy, Evelyn came on board then to deliver things for us. Chris was in her house putting paint into little pots, and everybody kind of came together to make it happen. And we had a practice group, and Stephanie, another tutor of ours, had done a workshop, and we all got together to see how it could work for each other. And they'd send things out by post, and my first reaction was, what's a post office? I don't know. You just don't use it anymore. And really, just to tap in to great ideas from various people, it made it really come together. And I was delighted with it. I mean, the group have a lot of drive, though, to be fair. They are just, they wouldn't let you away with anything, They're very, very driven. I'm going to pass on to Kieran and Nessa here. They might tell you better, and Chris, how it went for them.
Can you take that, Chris?
Right. So
I think she's just lost connection there.
Yeah.
You back? Yeah. Okay, sorry, just continue on. Sorry, I just think Chris lost connection. We found it very difficult.
Maybe if Chris wants to if you turn off your camera, Chris, sometimes that makes a difference. And Kieran, if you want to talk away and we'll see, then can we hear Chris then? Yeah.
No problem.
Yeah. Far away, Kieran. Yeah.
Yeah, like what you said there, Connor. When we did meet, we kind of had great expectations, and we said, "Oh, Jamie, we've everything we need down in the centre, and we've nothing to do, only just follow suit, get a tutor in." And we actually had our calendar of activities for the year mapped out, and we said, "Sure, listen, we're flying here, lads. We've everything ready to go." Then COVID hit, and everything just went bump, stop. what can we do? And then someone suggested, so try Zoom, see what. So Zoom was new to us and we didn't know where we were going with it. And like Ola said, we didn't even know how it would work. We gave it a go and we thought, actually, listen, it's probably only 4 weeks in lockdown and we'll be all back to normal. And we're still here, we're still plucking along, we're meeting every week, we're getting the art out, we're probably doing things we shouldn't be doing, but we're meeting and we're having conversations and drinking tea and having the chat. And it's all about connecting. It's just that connection. The WhatsApp group is, we have a WhatsApp group going, and that's actually takes up the time away from thinking about COVID and thinking about the lockdown, and because someone's messaging you what you think it is, or how can I manage this, or have you a way around this, or what should I do with this? And yeah, it's getting us through it. So hopefully for us, we'll continue on the way we're going and onwards and upwards.
Thanks,
sky's the limit, as the lad says.
Indeed. Thanks, Kieran. Nessa, I wonder, can you turn on your microphone for a second there? Because I just see it switched off at the moment. But I'm yeah, thanks, Nessa. I just was I was really struck the other day when we were talking. It was yesterday, I think, and you mentioned, you know, just the difference, you know, that the course can make every week. And has it made a big difference to you?
Oh, it has made a huge difference to me, yeah.
And, you know, Stephanie, Nessa, like, you know, if with the course and connecting with people, I'm very conscious people aren't going, you know, to their centers or places they normally would meet people. Like, you know, do you find it helps, like?
Yeah, and I get to see different people, you know. I don't get to see the same faces that I see day in, day out, do you know what I mean? I get to see different people the whole time.
That's great.
That's good.
And Rita, there with the Kildare Down syndrome, I remember we were inside in a polytunnel up in Salons, and you know we had tutors going in and out, and there was all a hive of activity, and you know then bang, all of a sudden the world's kind of changed really. And I mean, what has it meant for your members, like all of this in COVID, and how you've gone through that?
Well, I suppose for our members, like that day, Conor, when you were in the tunnel giving out the certificates, we would have had 14 students there and 4 tutors. And a lot of them would have travelled independently to Salons and all. So life was very good for them. Like, I mean, they had better social lives than I have, and coming and going and getting the takeaway coffee and the whole works. And then it all stopped. And I suppose most of us have struggled with understanding COVID, but for somebody, you know, if you have a little bit of a difficulty, you can understand if there's 10 foot of snow and you can't go somewhere. But COVID is an unseen thing, and it makes it more difficult. It's also, life has changed immeasurably, but also there's no clear end in sight. And I think everybody found this third wave just drastic. Now, we had been back on site in person teaching up until December, but the numbers so high and all that, and our people are so medically vulnerable. And I remember when we started with Joe, and I said this, I didn't have great, I suppose, expectations for the you know, this IT thing when we started it. And I remember that night, we all our teachers and tutors were there, and they were really, the mood was so low because we were so upset because we could not be back in the tunnel and in the classroom with our guys, knowing what it meant to them. And we started talking, we started, you know, kicking around a few ideas and things like that. And the last 8 weeks has definitely been the lifter for us, the difference between, what I would say is, it has given us an energy that I know gives us an energy to give to our people that we support. So it has recharged us that look after, you know, that support the others. And you know, it was cracking. Like, I think in the end, everybody was looking forward to Torture and Joe on a Monday evening and see what we could send them. They could sort out and that. And yeah, it definitely, it became part of a little bit of our mental wellness in the last And that's a huge compliment, I think, to make to anyone that can find any bit of mental wellness anywhere this weather, you know, you're doing okay. But again, what we produced will outlive COVID. And it's each one of those people. And even though it's an absolutely beautiful video, for us that know these people, it's even more important, because we know that every sentence they've said or every action they've done is a true reflection of their personality and who they really are. And even when Joe would tell you, when we were assigning lines to people, like the tutors were going, oh, that definitely has to be John's line, or that definitely has to be Donna's line, or that definitely, because they know them so well. And yeah, it has been a lovely thing to do, and we're extremely proud of it. You know, whatever anyone else thinks of it, we're extremely proud of it. And it, again, we connected with families, because they had a lot of parents are in that video, teachers, tutors, committee, and the students. So there's 46 clips in it. So even in the last weeks, we were connecting out with them as well as with the students, and that, you know, so we stayed quite well connected in the last 2 months, which thanks to this project. And so, yeah, it was a win-win for us anyway. So.
And Joe, you were in the happy position of working with two groups this year, Joe, and you were also new to community education. You know, what have you kind of learned from it all yourself, I suppose? Now?
Well, yeah, as I say, I'm new to the whole community education thing. Used to probably working with, well, I do some one-to-one tutoring, which is very much learner specific, but used to maybe working through a kind of a set syllabus, and so that was the big difference. Now, again, we had our outcomes, but the journey was never predicted. We like KDSI wanted to do a movie, but really we didn't really know what the movie was going to look like or what it was going to be about. Sharing Skills wanted a Facebook page and a web page, and they'd done a bit of work themselves on it as well. But again, there was a very interesting journey there with them too. Two very different groups. And one group I was a tutor, I suppose, with Kildare, or with the Sharing Skills, because we were kind of imparting a lot of knowledge to the group and to the individuals as well. They were all very keen that they moved together as a group rather than one person kind of moving forward ahead of the others. With the Down syndrome group, I was more of a facilitator and kind of organizer and general dog's body, I suppose. But I mean, I wasn't tutoring them as much, that we were facilitating and advising, I suppose, on the making of the video. So I must say, I felt I got a great buzz out of the whole thing. I mean, I'm dying to sit down in Selbridge Library with Sharing Skills and just visit one of their real sessions. And I'm dying to stand in the polytunnel. You were lucky, Connor. I'm dying to stand in the polytunnel down in Sallins and meet, because I feel I know them all. I feel I know all the members of the Kildare Down syndrome group. I know them all from getting their video clips and communicating with them. And I'd love to meet them all. Really thoroughly enjoy the whole experience.
Indeed. So say all of us. Just there, Chris, I lost you for a second, but I wonder if you could turn on your microphone for a second there, Chris, down in with the Thai group, if you can hear me. Because I suppose, I remember at one stage in your project, there was an interesting conversation and a development where you kind of identified the importance of, learning during the Zoom session, about that difference between maybe people going away and doing their own thing, but actually the beauty of having a piece of time where you were all started together doing it, even though you weren't in the one room.
Yes. What we found first is when we started first, we had Orla doing a demonstration. She did the actual project on YouTube tutorial, and then she demonstrated it, but how much from it, and there was chats and a bit of crack and galar, like we were in the centre. We always had a bit of a conversation going, and we were all happy and so chilled out, and we lost ourselves for that hour and a half. So it was a lovely sensation and a lovely thing to come around to again, and to appreciate Orla for all that she has done, and yourselves as well for listening to us, and to actually keeping with us, and you know, tiding us along the way. It was very important, and we really appreciate both of everybody's input, and thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Stephanie, you were presenting there earlier and showed us the lovely tree and the video, and I mean the tree is amazing, you know, and what it tells, and you know, it so eloquently describes so much. Was that hard work? Was it hard work making that? Like, how was that whole experience like?
The experience mostly was about sharing and caring for one another's opinion, and actually applying the deep listening, as Sichida described and Clina brilliantly shared as well. We all came to realize that the tree has all the aspects that we wanted to resemble as part of our work. And there is one plus there, which is to represent the strengths of everybody, that everybody can actually do at their own pace and at their own time, and contribute to the bigger picture and make the difference in the world.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. I'm conscious that we're kind of 1 hour and a quarter in, and we've managed to hold on to pretty much all of the audience we started with, which is incredible. We had over 100 people tuned in today to engage with us and share with us, and that's really positive. And I suppose I would encourage all of you, you know, if you've logged in, you know, do go onto our webpage, Community Education, kwetb.ie, and you can join our mailing list and get more information that way. By all means, get in touch with all of these groups. I think they have there's so much we can learn from them and from each other, and that is so inspiring as well. And you know, today when we leave here as well, I think it would be good, you know, there's something I heard someone speaking on the radio recently, and they talked about, you know, carrying something beautiful in your heart. If you can identify something beautiful and bring it with you through the day, it helps to nourish us and sustain us. And I think, you know, from each one of these projects, there's something beautiful that we could all carry and could nourish us through the day and the weeks ahead. Finally, I suppose if we were in, you know, in that hall I started with, and I was imagining somewhere in County Kildare, we'd have a big room of people, and we'd be, you know, at the normal course of events, we'd show our appreciation to everybody as well. So just the other people who are in the background here at the moment, I might ask them to switch on their cameras, all of them, please, and their microphones. And Joe was wondering, we had an experiment in our head. We're not sure if it's entirely possible or not to do this, but we might get halfway, we might get a quarter of the way, you never know. But one of the ways people show their appreciation is, you know, by giving a round of applause. And I think all of these people who've joined today, you know, they deserve a round of applause. So, you know, you'll get the opportunity now in a second, you'll get a message, or as I said,
I'm asking people here to as quickly as I can, because I have to do it one at a time. Asking people to talk, or giving them permission to talk, so they might get something popping up on their screen. So it's really just to give us all a round of applause, I suppose, isn't that kind of?
Yes, that's it. So all of you now, in a second, you'll get a message that you can unmute your microphones. This is the wonder of technology. We won't be able to see you, but we will actually be able to hear you if you turn on your microphone. So I'll count you in.
They're in already, Connor.
Well done, everyone.
Thank you, Cecilia, and
Thank you.
Yes, we can hear you. As I suspected, it's chaos. Yeah,
I probably won't get to everyone, but sure, there you go.
Yeah, we'll get as many as we can. And, that's
yeah, make plenty of noise.
Well done.
So I think we'll give everyone a round of applause if that's okay.
Yeah.
Well done, everyone.
Well done, everyone.
Brilliant.
Very much. Well done.
So, look, thanks so much to everyone who joined us today. Keep well and keep safe. And best of luck for the rest of 2021. And thank you and good evening. And
okay, everyone. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
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 Stop it. Close it. Leave. There you go. I have it now. Leave.